This is my favorite time of year. I love autumn. I wish that I lived in the part of the country where we had a longer fall season because it's just fantastic. Right now, around here, most of the farmers have their crops in. Harvest has been good. We've different churches and groups around are having their harvest meals, and it's just cozy, it's warm. And this time of year makes me think of a few different dishes, a few different ingredients, obviously turkey and pumpkins and yams. Now this dish stood out to me because you don't oftentimes see, or I don't oftentimes see yams with fruit. And so this strange pudding just jumped off the page, and I'm really, really excited to do it for today. Today's recipe is from Amelia Simmons' 1796 cookbook, American Cookery. It's a fantastic cookbook. We use it a lot on the channel and is considered the first American cookbook. It's got a fantastic name for the recipe, a crookneck, or a winter squash pudding. Core, boil, and skin a good squash, and bruise it well. Take 6 large apples, pared, cored, and stewed tender. Mix together. Add 6 or 7 spoonfuls of dry bread or biscuit, rendered fine as meal. Half pint of milk or cream, 2 spoons of rose water, some wine, 5 or 6 eggs beaten and strained, nutmeg, salt and sugar to your taste, 1 spoonful flour. Beat all firmly together and bake. The above is a good recipe for pumpkins, potatoes, or yams, adding more moistening or milk and rose water, and to the latter a few black or Lisbon currants or dried whortleberries scattered in will make it better. We're going to use yams in this recipe instead of a pumpkin or a squash just because while they're available at this time of year, I know that most people's Thanksgiving tables want to see yams. And this is a really great recipe that could make it to your Thanksgiving table. I think that it would be something interesting that people hadn't seen before, and you could have a lot of fun making this. So let's get going. First thing we have to do, there's a little bit of prep work before we can just start mixing things together and throw it in the oven. First, we have to take our yams that are raw and hard, and we have to do something to soften them, and I've already done that to these yams. Now, there are 2 options that you really have, or you can bake them, or you can boil them. I chose to bake them. I like the caramelization that happens when you bake yams. I think that that's going to be really nice in this dish. So just throw them on a cookie sheet and throw them in the oven. Forget about them for an hour and they're going to be ready to go. It doesn't really matter the temperature. I think I cooked mine at 325 and they're nice and soft. We're going to be able to cut the skins and just spoon out the sweet potatoes so we can mix it all up. Now, I didn't prepare the apples yet. We need to do that right now. I pared the apples, cored them, got them chopped up small so I could boil them and soften them up a little bit. We got it here in the bowl with the soft sweet potatoes and mashed it all up. Now it's time to add the other ingredients. We've got some dry and wet ingredients. I'm going to go ahead and add the breadcrumbs real quick. So as you can see, I only have 3 eggs for this recipe. So we're basically cutting this recipe in half. I did about a cup of breadcrumbs and everything else is cut just about in half. I did make this recipe one other time, and so I got a good feel about how wet that I want it to be. So after we get some of the dry ingredients going and start adding liquid, she even mentions maybe you want it to be more moist. We'll judge that by eye later on. All right, so I've got the breadcrumbs and the eggs in there. From here, we're gonna add our cup of cream. nice heavy cream. And then it does call for a little bit of wine. I've got about a tablespoon of wine here. You can add more or less. I'm not gonna put rose water in here. I know it says to put rose water, but I can't stand rose water, so I'll probably end up adding a little bit more wine for that extra liquid. There's some flour, about a tablespoon as well, and then I've got about a 1/4 cup of sugar here. We're gonna get this all mixed in together, and once we do that, we'll add our whortleberries. Whortleberries, it's a very difficult word for me to say, are just dried blueberries. I think some people probably know that, a lot of people probably don't, but that's all it is, dried blueberries, and they're easy to find at the grocery store. You could use currants in this if you wanted to. You could probably get away with using raisins, but it's just another way to get these little flavor pops every once in a while. It's gonna be really nice. We've got our pot filled up, it's ready to bake, and as you can see, there's about, I don't know, there's a couple inches of space at the top because this is gonna wanna swell up and then it's gonna shrink back down eventually, but you wanna give it some room. And also, I'm gonna take the lid and just put it off to the side because this is gonna bake uncovered. About an hour and a half, maybe hour and 15 minutes at 325 degrees. It'll turn out perfect. All right, here you are, John. It's finished.
Look at that. You know, I can't even remember when we did this episode.
That was a long time ago.
Was it, like 6, 7 years ago or something?
Yeah, it had to have been. Yeah. And that was part of the Thanksgiving feast thing.
Right.
So you guys held them all back and then tasted them all at once at the end together. Mm-hmm. So anyway, yeah, let's try it.
Okay.
I'm gonna make sure I get a currant in there,
You're right.
Excuse me, a whortleberry.
Oh, whortleberry. Oh yeah,
that's good.
Man, this is really good. Let's see. So it's sweet potatoes and apple mixed together, and then we have the special sweetener in there, which is, you know, the whortleberries.
The whortleberries. And there's some nutmeg. And I was judicious.
I should have brought this grater just in case it needed more, but I think it's okay. This would make a tremendous addition to anyone's Thanksgiving. I can see why it was in the series, and that means it's in the Amelia Simmons cookbook, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, I was encouraging folks earlier, this can make it to your Thanksgiving table. I think it's really delicious. It will be different than anything else too. I mean, it's filling, but it's sweet. You know, it's not too sweet that it feels like a dessert. It's just good. The apples come through.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't know. It's like, oh, it's sweet potato and apple. Maybe it'll taste like one big sweet mixture, but no.
This has got a familiar taste to me, but I can't identify it as a modern dish necessarily. I mean, it doesn't say sweet potato to me right off the top, so it's got a great a great flavor that if you just dished it out to somebody, they go, "What is that?"
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I think that the familiar area, it tastes like other period dishes that we make. The carrot pudding was really similar to this, and there are plenty of custard-like puddings, things but nothing modern. This is really good.
Wonderful. Great job.
Yeah, thanks. Well, thank you for coming and tasting this with me. Nobody wants to eat a Thanksgiving dish alone.
Anytime.
Appreciate that. And you folks out there, thank you for watching. Have a very happy Thanksgiving get together with your family. I hope that it's a great day for you.
Happy Thanksgiving.